Yeah, something inside let go. All right, I'm out here today at the baseball fields, and I'm gonna do some running with the HBX 16890A. Now the stock tires on this truck are pretty good all-around tires, but they're pretty bad for grip on dirt. So I'm gonna try these spike tires. They're from the 1980s, they're Schumacher tires. Hopefully they stay on here. With the stock tires, this truck is capable of speeds well over 50 miles an hour at 3S and approaching 35 miles an hour on 2S. Now it might not go quite that fast today on a baseball field, but I am gonna GPS it to see just how fast it'll go. We're running the Hobbywing 60 amp ESC and a King Val 2845 sized motor that's 5900 kV. So this thing's an absolute ripper. I wanted to wait for a day that it wasn't too hot. It's probably about 70 degrees right now, and we're gonna give this thing a rip and see how fast it is on 4 different 2S LIPOs. I have a Ion battery that came with my hayboxing boat, and I have the stock LIPO battery that came with this HBX truck. I have a Superior 850 mAh battery. It's the fastest of these 4. And I also have this here Gen X, which I think will easily run the longest, and is a really strong performer as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and test these. Somebody the other day was saying how they had a Ion that outperformed a LIPO, and it seemed unusual to me, other than the fact that the Ion was like twice the size, or at least half again as big as the LIPO. So that was probably a factor. But I wanna see what kind of speeds I can get out here on this baseball field. It's not gonna be real scientific because I might not even be able to reach full speed, but it'll be fun to see if we can see a performance difference between the Ion and the 3 LIPO batteries. And I'll probably save this for another video, but I have this 3S tattoo battery. It's an absolute ripper, and we're gonna see how that performs out here at the baseball field. All right, first I went ahead and threw the Ion battery in there, and I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing buttoned up. And here's the GPS. I'm gonna zero it out. The GPS is reading, and we're ready to go. Instantly, it hit the 3.7 volt alarm. Oh, it's just not happy. We'll see what kind of speed we can get out of it. That's it. That probably was top speed right there. Ooh, not happy at all. 20 miles an hour. That's slower, or about the same as it would be stock. All right, I don't want to damage the ESC running this battery, so we'll call it quits here. Wow, I had no idea it would be that slow and struggle that much. As you can see, the voltage dropped all the way down to like 3.8, 3.9 volts per cell, which is insane how quickly the voltage dropped. All right, next up I'll run the stock battery. Now I have the stock 1000 mAh 2S battery in here. And if any of you were wondering why this was at 3.8 to 3.9 volts per cell, and the voltage alarm I said was set at 3.7 volts, and why it was alarming, it's because while this motor was pulling a lot of amps, this Ion battery had severe voltage sag, and the voltage dipped. Now when you get off the throttle, it recovers, but it can't satisfy the demand of current for this power hungry motor, and just fell flat on its face. So I have no doubt that this stock LIPO battery is going to perform much better, but let's see how much better it actually performs. I'm not even going to bother to reset the GPS because we'll definitely go faster than 20 miles an hour. Oh, it already hit the low voltage alarm now. Interesting. Did not expect that. Let's see what kind of speeds we're getting. I'm gonna silence that alarm because it's annoying. All right, we hit 26 already, so pretty big improvement. Let me turn this alarm off. All right, here we go. Ooh, I missed that ball. Well, still struggling for traction, even with the spiked tires, but it's definitely better. Let's see if we're still at 26 miles an hour. Yep, 26.2. All right, I gotta clean this field up because it's oh, the ESC cut off for a second. Might have hit the low voltage shut off. Yeah, it's not happy about something. I think what's happening is the voltage is dipping below the low voltage cutoff, and just, once it recovers, it's going full throttle again. But this HBX battery is not happy. Let's see what kind of speeds we got. All right, we're still hitting 26, so not bad, but it's struggling. Yeah, I just hit the low voltage shut off again. So I'm gonna call it quits on this battery. But before I put it away, I'll go ahead and see what the actual resting voltage is and how much of the capacity we actually used up. I'm actually thinking it's gonna have quite a bit of capacity left, but it just does not like the high amp draw of this motor. We can also see how hot this motor's getting. It's not hot, but it's certainly warm. So I'm gonna let this cool down for a few minutes, and while it's cooling down, I'll go ahead and check the voltage. All right, we're at 7.42 volts and 3.7 volts per cell. Nice and even, but man, that battery really took a shit quickly. And this battery, I'll put a link in the video description. I've tested all these before and did capacity testing, and it says 25C. You know, C ratings are made up by the manufacturers. Usually they're greatly embellished, but this one, I'm guessing, is not going to perform nearly as well as this Superior battery. This is rated at, my old eyes can't see it, but it still might be 25C. But it will perform better than this stock HBX battery, I have little doubt. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get this other battery in here, and we'll get this thing buttoned up. I definitely need to get a fan for this motor. Just running that auxiliary fan for a few minutes dropped the temperature down real quickly. I have a fan picked out, I just need to go ahead and buy it. But for now, I'll just let it rest for a few minutes between runs and we should be all right. So I have the Superior battery in here. It does not fit perfectly. Now that I have the different ESC in here, it's a little tight, but it'll fit well enough for some testing. All right, the GPS is zeroed out and reading. And let's see how this Superior battery performs. All right, the other hit the low voltage shut off almost instantly. So far, so good on this one. Ooh. Well, so much for that. It hit the voltage alarm. But we did hit 27 miles an hour. All right, I was wrong. All of them are going to hit that 3.7 volt alarm pretty quickly, but this one's certainly quicker. We'll go ahead and reset this and keep running. I'm going to try for another top speed run here. See what we got. 29 miles an hour, so significantly faster. The Ion hit about 20, and if I remember right, the stock LIPO hit, what was it, 26? Sticking here. So yeah, that's the best we're gonna do. Nearly 30 miles an hour on 2X in the dirt. All right, now I'm just gonna drive it. That's the speed run. We hit the low voltage shutoff. These batteries are dying pretty quickly. This is a really aggressive motor. Back into it and hit it again. So that's going to be it. That's one of the big complaints with this truck, is that the battery compartment's really small. So the size battery you can fit in here is really limited. Let's go ahead and see how hot this motor is. And then I have one last LIPO to run in here. That's 2S, which is the Eurogenics. All right, so we're at about 3.8 volts per cell with a total voltage of about 7.6 volts. So nice, it's at storage voltage. All right, now I've only had this fan running on here for about a minute, maybe a minute and a half, and it's already cooled down a fair amount. It's still pretty warm, so I'm gonna give it another minute or two, but it should be fine by the time I'm ready to run it. Now, this Eurogenics battery fits in here nicely, and it's actually a true 1100 mAh battery. It's true to its rating. And let's go ahead and hook up the voltage checker. All right, all these batteries have sagged a little bit just sitting here before I put them in the car. So it's interesting, most of my larger batteries don't do that, but for some reason all these smaller ones are sagging a bit. But at any rate, let's make sure this is still set to 3.7 volts. There we go. And I'll get this buttoned up. I do not expect this Urgenix battery to be any faster than the Superior, probably a little slower, but I do expect it to run longer because it does hold about 300 more milliamp hours. Let's see what happens. Already hit the low voltage shut off almost instantly. Ooh. Let me shut off this voltage checker and take a look at the speed. All right. So none of these 2S batteries are able to keep up with the demand of this King Val 2845 sized motor. They're all dying pretty quickly, and really they're all having severe voltage sag down to 3.7 volts from a full charge pretty much instantly, so that's not good. And really the only workaround to that is either a battery that truly has a higher C rating or a larger battery. If the battery was, say, twice as large, the voltage sag wouldn't be nearly as severe. The way, in theory, how you calculate the ability of the battery to supply amps is you take the rating in amps, so 1000 mAh battery would be 1 amp, and you times it by the C rating, so 25C would be 25 amps. This motor, though, is drawn like, I think it's 60 amps or something like that, so quite a bit. But if you were to go up to a 2000 milliamp hour battery, so 2 amps times 25C, that would bring you up to 50 amps. So that would be more in line with what this motor really needs to keep it happy. Or a battery that has truly a higher C rating. So if you did have a battery that was closer to, say, a 50 C rating, you could get by with 1000 milliamp hour. But really this thing would be happier with something closer to 2000 milliamp hours. Anyway, let's continue with the running. This King Val is just an absolute ripper until it's not. I think we just hit the low voltage shutoff. It's not so much a shutoff, but it's more of a restriction. The voltage will recover. Uh-oh. No, that's not the low voltage shutoff. I think I stripped some gears or something. The axle shafts have been wearing pretty badly, so they may have let go, or who knows, it could have been something else. I knew I was pushing this truck pretty hard with this motor, and we'll see what's going on here. Yeah, something inside let go. The shafts are definitely worn, but that's not the problem. So I'm gonna have to go ahead and take this thing apart when I get home and see what's going on inside. Unfortunately, I will not get to run the 3S battery with this motor. I was really looking forward to that because it would have absolutely ripped. I think it would have got at least up to 40 miles an hour or so on this baseball field, but that's not gonna happen. All right, so the Urgenix, we're looking at about 4 volts per cell, so it had quite a bit of life left in it, and the car failed before I was able to run it down, so that's really unfortunate. So what are my thoughts on this King Val motor? Well, the motor itself is awesome. The thing is just an absolute powerhouse, and you know, it got this car well over 50 miles an hour on 3S. It hit nearly 57 miles an hour on 3S with some larger tires. So it absolutely rips, but without a really high-end battery. And I think this may have ran longer because this thing is a absolute monster of a battery. But it's not happy with these small batteries at 2S. So not the best fit for this truck. It was a fun experiment. It was fun to do some speed runs with, but really the stock 2840 size motor, which if I remember right, it's about a 3500 kV motor, is better suited for this. This is a 2845, so it's about 10% bigger, but it's a 5900 kV motor. So it just absolutely screams and it's more than this truck was ever designed for. Now I will say, I did turn the punch all the way down on this ESC, trying to safeguard the transmission. So it has 9 settings and it's running on 1. So it's still a light truck, a lot of motor for the size of it. And when I get home, I'll take this thing apart and see what failed. All right, let's see what we got going on in here. Well, the pinion just flew off. So maybe it's not as bad as I originally thought. Might be hard to see in there, but the gears actually look okay. Looks like the pinion just flew off. So I'll see if I can get this thing back together and run it again soon. All right, she's back together and ready for a rip. Whenever something goes mechanically wrong with this truck, I kind of jump to conclusions and think it's something serious, and knock on wood, nothing serious has gone wrong with this truck yet. This thing's really durable, and I've put a beating on the powertrain. So yeah, all it was the pinion. I'm gonna get this thing back out to the baseball field on 3S, and I hope to get it over 40 miles an hour off-road, which will just absolutely rip. And I'm gonna test out that Tattoo 3S battery and see if I can get a longer run time and maybe less voltage sag than those 2S batteries we're getting. So stay tuned. I have like 15 different videos on this HBX truck, so check those out if you're interested in this vehicle. And please give this video a like, and please consider subscribing. I'm trying to get up to 1,000 subscribers, and that way the little bit of money I can make on these videos I can put right back into my channel. So I'd appreciate it if everyone would subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.